All right, here we are with Dave Schwartz, the Otter pilot from Skydive Chicago. He came up for our Sup Girl skydiving event here at Skydive Twin Cities. He brought the Twin Otter with him, and we're going to learn a little bit about the Otter and take a ride. Hey Dave, how's it going?
Good, Kerry, how are you?
Good. Tell us a little bit about the Twin Otter you have for us today.
Well, this is I believe it's a 1969 Otter. It's a 200 series. It's got -34s on it, the PT6A-34 Pratt & Whitney motors on it. And it's really kind of an ideal aircraft for skydiving operations. It has several elements that come together to make it good for that, including a large jump door, slow airspeed on jump run, and a high tail, so there's very little worry about a tail strike. So it's an ideal skydiving aircraft. Real good climb performance, good takeoff and landing performance. Not so great in the cruise, but other than that, really a very enjoyable airplane to fly.
So it makes it nice getting off a tiny little grass strip like ours here in Baldwin International. 2,500 feet, kind of scary, right?
Not in this airplane. No, it's at gross, I'm probably using, I'm maybe using 1,200 or 1,500 feet of your runway here.
Nice.
So yeah.
All right, well, we got a load coming here pretty soon. Let's go take her for a ride.
Let's do it.
Lee?
Okay.
All right, let's start the Otter.
Okay. So the pre-start flow starts over your left shoulder here. We're going to check all circuit breakers are in. We come down, look between our legs here, make sure the parking brake is set. You can see this little piece of shaft sticking out here, and if I kick it off, that goes away. Make sure that's set. We're going to check that the avionics are off. I'm going to come up to the power quadrant. We're going to make sure we're at flight idle. The props are in feather. The big one is this. We want to make sure the fuel's all the way back. I'm going to confirm both generators are off. The bus tie is in the normal position, and I like to make sure the anti-collision light is on as well. So that's the pre-start flow. We're now going to come over here to the start panel. We've got a start cart back there today, so we're going to select external, and then we're going to turn on the power. You can hear the hydraulic pump going there. And the first load of the day,
1,100.
1,100. I'm back at Skydive Chicago right now. There you go. So the first load of the day, we like to check the boost pumps. I'm going to switch those off and check the standby pumps. And I'm just kind of audibly listening to those, make sure they're working. We're going to check the cross-feed valves. That's just an audible check as well. And now we're ready to start the right side, so we'll make sure it's clear out there.
Right side is clear.
I'm going to push and hold the starter over to the right, and then I'm going to be looking at the gas generator speed here. Now, Pratt says that you can light these things at 12%. We have a company minimum of 16, but we're going to get as high as we can. We're stable there at 18% now. I'm going to introduce fuel. It's about a 3-second count. We're going to see the first stage light off here. And we're looking for oil pressure coming up. And in just a moment, we're going to hear the second stage come in. There it is. And once we get up here to about 50–52%, the start's complete. I can release the starter. I'm going to bring the right prop out of feather. Now we're going to repeat on the left side. So we're looking at gas generator. We're past our company minimum of 16%, but it's still climbing. I'm going to take all I can get. There's about almost 19% on that side. We'll give it fuel. The start's complete. I'm going to go to internal power here, and then I'm going to tell him to unplug the cart. Once that's done, the avionics can come on.
And now you know how to start a Twin Otter.
There you go.
Let's go fly one.
So even though I have about $300 flying the Otter, and normally a really cool pilot would let me fly in this place, I can't do that in a Twin Otter because you can't steer the Twin Otter from the right side. The Twin Otter is steered with the steering, with the, what is that?
The tiller.
That tiller. I can't think of that today.
Pretty common once you get into kind of mid-size airplanes to have a tiller.
Yeah, the Otter, it's right here. Some of them, they're sort of in the middle of the yoke on some airplanes. Some of them are off to the left side, but yeah, fairly common.
Actually, really love flying the Twin Otter, even with the tiller. I love the tiller. Just this thing can turn on a dime. It's great for a short field and turning around at the end, using all the runway. You can get right up to the edge. You know, a lot of guys have a hard time learning the tiller. I picked it up pretty quick. It was pretty easy. You know, you stay on the tiller till you get going. Well, rudder authority, but what's that, about 35?
I mean, that's going to vary depending on your wind conditions, but usually by the time the power's set, even in no wind, you've got rudder authority because the rudder on this airplane is so huge.
Right, that's big.
So I think a good rule of thumb is just don't ever use the tiller.
Exactly.
Then when you have to use it, then you use it.
We're putting 22 skydivers in the Twin Otter, which makes for a full load. I think we have at least one low.
Okay.
One low means there's going to be a hop and pop. One of these skydivers is going to get out at 5,000 feet. We're all in. We can go. Too low? Too low.
Too low.
Too low. Thank God you cleaned the windshield for this little filming we're doing here.
Yeah, that was your job.
Could you avoid one of the bugs once in a while? I mean, come on, Dave, seriously. All right, so we're going to be taking off on the grass at my airport in Baldwin, Wisconsin. It's 2,500 feet with a nice raised train tracks at the end, so it can look scary, but Twin Otter, not a problem.
Do a little 24-hour check here. We'll check the overspeed governor. I'm just going to manually feather both props once just to make sure they're dumping oil good. We'll check all of our lights. We've got some chip detectors here that let us know if we've got any metal in the oil. We'll check the fire lights. And we'll check the annunciator panel. Control check. All looks good. Then we'll go through our takeoff flow. That's fuel flaps trim. So we've got adequate fuel for the load and we're on both. Flaps are set to 10 and the trim is set. We always use flaps 10 in the Otter because that is the best single engine flap setting. So if we lose one on takeoff, that's just one less item that we've got to deal with to handle that situation. So we're all set now. I'm going to go ahead and start pushing in takeoff power. We're going to set 42.5 pounds of torque here. Power's set. I'm already off the tiller now. I already have, you know, we're doing maybe 15 miles an hour here and I've already got rudder authority. We get the nose light here and it's coming off the ground now. I'm just going to accelerate through blue line as quickly as possible.
And we're off.
Coming through 1,000 feet here, the flaps are going to come up. I'm going to bring the power back to just below 40 pounds, and then I'm going to bring the props back to 86%. And that's going to make that torque climb right back up to where we want it. And now because we got a hop and pop, we're going to check in with the approach facility we're working here. That's Minneapolis Center in your area. Minneapolis Approach, isn't it?
Yep.
Morning approach, Skydive 2, identing through 2,500.
Skydive 2, Minneapolis Approach, ident, radar contact 2 miles northeast of the Baldwin Airport, Minneapolis Center 3020. What altitude do you want up to?
Be 14.5 for the final, and we're a minute prior to a low pass at this time.
Skydive 2, roger. Skydive 2, no observed traffic, and it's a truck up Skydive operations at the Baldwin, Wisconsin Airport. 2 traffic 7 miles northwest of Baldwin Airport. Eastbound, might be turning eastbound, 3,100 indicated.
Okay, he's on screen, he'll stay north on his current line.
Minneapolis, our latest Echo, now correct wind 330 at 7, altimeter 3020.
You gotta love ADS-B.
Yeah, I think it's really good if you fully understand its capabilities. It worries me a little bit because I think a lot of people don't have a full grasp of its limitations and become overly reliant on it. But I think as long as you really have a full understanding of its limitations and its capabilities, it's great.
Yeah, that's a good point. There's a lot of guys that they say, I can't even fly without ADS-B. It was like, well, you know, there are clear parts of the airplane called windows.
Yeah, well,
you can look out those sometimes too.
That's right. The bigger thing to me is that I think some people think if they don't see it on the screen, it's not there.
Right.
You know, and that's a little worrisome to me.
Well, for old hands like us, it's just an extra tool.
It is, and it's a good one for sure. All right, we're gonna let these hopping poppers go here.
Get out of my airplane!
Baldwin traffic, look out, jumpers away.
1374, traffic 11 o'clock and 10 miles or northbound, currently just south of Pig's Eye, 2,600 indicated type unknown.
We're coming through 12,000 now, and one of the requirements for flying jumpers, Part 105 is the part of the FARs that regulate skydiving. One of the burdens that's put on us is we have to be in communication with the overlying ATC facility. And so we're gonna let them know that we're getting close to dropping jumpers here and also make some announcements on the Unicom frequency. So I'm gonna go ahead and start doing that work now. Baldwin traffic, skydiving operations in 2 minutes below 14,000. Skydiving in 2 minutes, use caution, Baldwin. Minneapolis, Skydive 2, we're now just about 2 minutes prior.
Skydive 2, got no traffic in the vicinity. Just got an experimental 5 north of the field. They're talking to Minneapolis approach westbound at 3,000.
Yeah, that aircraft's on screen, no factor.
Skydive 2, thanks. Potential aircraft, skydiving operations in the vicinity of the Baldwin Airport at or below 14,500.
So now we're pretty much established on jump run here. I'm got a 270 line dialed into the GPS here, and I'm looking at the cross track. We want to be a half a mile offset to the north today. I pretty much got that captured now. Got 1,000 feet to climb, and we want to give them the green light at about 0.7 prior. That's going to be about a half a mile prior to a beam in the field. That's really what we're looking to do next. So ideally, we hit altitude at the same time we hit the exit point. This one I missed by just a little bit. We're coming up on altitude now, and we've still got about 0.8 of a mile to go. That's not ideal, but Carrie's paying the bill, so I'm okay with it.
It's all money out of my pocket, but go ahead, do whatever you want.
Go ahead and get the power set here. I'm going to turn a red light on by the door now. That'll let them know it's time to open the door up. All right, here comes our distance. We'll go ahead and flip that to green, and they'll start going. Baldwin traffic jumpers away up this time, 14,000. Progress right now, Baldwin.
Please. 70 knots. Take you out 70.
As every group leaves, we have just a little bit of shift in CG, so I've just kind of got my hand on the trim here, and I'm working that all the way through jump run.
Even with the fancy iPad?
Well, I see it's not working right now. We'll have to reset that when we get down. Might not have paired up with the transponder. Now, as those last groups are getting in the door, we're going to kind of configure the airplane for descent. We're going to come back to idle, bring the props back. Going to confirm arm, the flaps are up, and as soon as that last jumper leaves, we're going to kind of take advantage of this low airspeed that we're running right now. We're going to get fairly steep initially. We're going to pitch down maybe 25 degrees or so initially to kind of take advantage of this low airspeed. We can kind of unwind the first 1,000 feet or so pretty quickly. And then the idea is to do just kind of a nice smooth parabola here to intercept 140 knots without really putting any load on the airplane. So that's basically what we've done now. We're configured for the descent. We're all the way back at idle. We don't have any shot cooling issues because we're turboprop, so we can come to idle and just go right up to our maximum descent airspeed. In Minneapolis, Skydive 2, we're on the way down and going to advisory air approval, please.
Skydive 2, no traffic. See ya.
All right, so we've got a base flow that we go through every time in the Otter. We're going to check to make sure that both engines are still running. We're going to check that we've got hydraulic pressure on both sides, and then really importantly, we're going to make sure the tiller is centered. You don't want to have that thing turned off to one side when you touch down. So that's complete. We're ready to roll final here. It looks like all the jumpers are on the ground now. Clear to the right. Baldwin's got a few final 3 seconds, Baldwin. If I twist the handles now, I can pull a little beta, get us slowed down without wasting the brakes. Kerry's got nice smooth grass here. This is a really nice little field he's got.
It's my baby. We're really lucky to have our own field to operate off of.
Yeah.
Makes it so nice. No other traffic unless I let them in.
We work at a lot of drop zones around the country, fly jumpers, and we've got about, I think, 40 customers or so around the company, or around the country. And the private airports are the ones that are the easiest to work at for sure.
So when you came in and landed, there was no reason to push anything, but you could have come in, stopped a lot shorter.
Oh,
if you
yeah.
really had to.
For sure.
You can even put it in beta while you're still a couple feet in the air and just kind of thump her down.
If you've got, say, 15 knots on the nose and you really work it, you can stop this airplane in 2 or 3 airplane lengths.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get in and out of really tight places.
It's pretty fun. All right, well, thanks a lot, Dave. I'm going to hop out and let the rest of the skydivers get back in. I think I've got to go make a skydive here. So next time you see me, I'll be in the back wearing a parachute, but it's been a pleasure. I missed flying up front of the Otter. I might have to get one.
There you go. All right. You take care,
They're
Kerry.
cheap.
I'll see you in the mirror.
All right. See you in a few. Thanks.